To support this podcast, go to positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amount is appreciated. Once again, positivesarcasm.com/donate. Thank you and enjoy the program. JRPositiveSarcasm.com, recorded here from the Spare Parts Studio alongside New Hampshire's beautiful seacoast for entertainment purposes only. Like, subscribe, share, donate. PositiveSarcasm.com/donate. Any amount is appreciated. Hit me up on Instagram at @positive_sarcasm. You can contact me directly or research anything you need on my website, positivesarcasm.com, which needs a little bit of renovation. Trying to find some time to do that. Or you could just email me directly, positivesarcasm@outlook.com. We have a friend in the studio. He's not going to talk much, though, I'll be honest with you, though. But I'll give you a sneak peek of what he's up to. There he is, lounging in the guest chair. There's the old Chasey Wasey, who's not doing anything. So we're just going to let him hang out for a little bit while we talk about universes and aliens. So yeah, you can hit me on my website, positivesarcasm.com, or you can email me directly, positivesarcasm@outlook.com. Such an unknown conversation, or an unknown conversation about the unknown. Such an unfinished conversation about what we don't necessarily know about. And the government release, the government website war.gov, just released a bunch of stuff, PDFs, images, videos. It's so disappointing. So disappointing. And here's the thing is, even if it is all the information that they have, or if a lot of the information, or even if it's only a tenth of it, like ultimately what they released, if what they're about to release after that is anything of the same, of the similar caliber, the data that they've released on UAPs, UFOs, aliens, what do you want to call them, extraterrestrial sightings, it's so disappointing. There's PDFs, obviously, written encounters, and then there's pictures that are digital renderings. Just digital renderings, ultimately just recreations of what was claimed to have been seen. And then there's video. Oh, it's like we got video. First of all, it's all at night. It's all blurred out, or it's from a distance. And there's no real evidence to conclude anything. Now, I understand that there's some that have been taken militarily, fighter jets, going, chasing flying discs or triangles or this, that, and the other thing. And it's like, okay, all right, you have my attention. But here's the thing. When it comes to the extraterrestrial activities, you've always had my curiosity and attention ever since I was a little boy. Every library book, every website, every History Channel episode, every movie, you've had my attention. Whether it was good, bad, friendly, scary, whether it was Fire in the Sky or Close Encounters of the Third Kind, you've had my attention. You've always had my curiosity. You've always had my wonder. And at this point, it's not a matter of, for me, it's not a matter of if, but when. Not a matter of if, but when. Because right now, everything that's being released is offering no benefit. It's offering no actual evidence. I mean, is there stuff that hasn't been released? I'm sure. Is there stuff that's been covered up? I'm sure. Is there stuff maybe that's here? Sure. But there's nothing that's going to crash the stock market. There's nothing that's going to change the minds of the religious or the non-religious. And I'm not to say, I'm not here to say that if an alien were to land tomorrow, it should crush a religion. Judaism, Christianity, the Muslim, whatever, Baptists. If anything, I would make your faith would be stronger because, number one, you'd need it because your faith and reality are always meant to struggle with one another, always meant to test each other. Because faith is more than just a belief in a higher power. It's a set of values that you follow every single day in order to create a better society, a better family, a better oneself. There's more to that. So if you think like aliens landing tomorrow is going to crush religion, No, the answer is absolutely not. That's just, I don't see that happening because a lot of people are going to clutch their pearls more than ever if something of pure horror or pure splendor and wonder were to just suddenly arrive and go, hey, remember those gods those gods that were mentioned in some of your books? Well, we met them. We met them, and they're pretty cool. They're chill. This one's a little temperamental, but yeah. Here, let me help you fix some of those texts. Let me just so that picture you see there with the Egyptian person doing this and that. Well, it's actually that's pretty close. But here's what we were doing. Here, let me explain it to you. It's not going to crush religion. It could give it a whole new opportunity to explore because science and religion are a pursuit of truth into the unknown. Like, we were not there in 1000 BC. We weren't there, at least us in our current form. We were not there. But there's writings and there's depictions and there's drawings of what may have taken place. And you can only interpret this as much as possible. What are people going to look at, I don't know, 1,000 years later from now? Are they going to look at our data as relics just like we view the Bible or ancient scriptures or the Dead Sea Scrolls or cave drawings? Are we going to look at it the same way? First off, are we even going to be around then? Who knows? So there's that to consider. Now, the debate for me, as I just said, is not a matter of if but when. Or it could be a matter of if ever, are we even worth it? I know that Neil deGrasse Tyson said, are we even worth looking at? I don't know the answer to that question. First of all, are we worth traveling to? Do we happen to be in the neighborhood for somebody to be that curious to come and look at us? That's a question I can't answer. It's a question I don't know. But if somebody was to happen to be in the area because they saw a couple nukes go off back in the August of 1945, and then they saw a bunch of testing in the 40s and 50s, maybe they do read atomic activity or nuclear activity a little better than we do. Like, for example, if you're in we have dosimeters that track nuclear activity, but locally. So, for example, there's two ways that we've read nuclear activity. We read nuclear activity such as radiation. Like when you walk near Chernobyl, you get that little ticking sound of the dosimeter, and it lets you know if you're getting too close to something that is radioactive. Gamma rays shooting back and forth, basically, is what it's detecting. So, but we're in the vicinity. We're in the same country. We're in the same city, so we're relatively close compared. But imagine that these, not from Earth beings are able to detect radioactive activity in the bursts that we give it off, instead of being in this, in the same neighborhood, like from the moon or from between us and the moon. What if they're I don't know, a whole galaxy away or several planets away? Maybe they're cruising by Jupiter because they're just checking some things out, going to an amusement park and the big hurricane there, and they're able to detect nuclear activity all the way from Earth. Like, their dosimeters are so highly advanced that they can essentially read what we're up to from that far away. Like, they're that good. Like, we have helicopters that fly over certain cities, like New York City, and they look for certain radiation bubbles. Like, that's pretty good. We can fly over a city and we can see, we're using like infrared or whatever, ultimately if there's a threat. But maybe aliens, extraterrestrials, are able to do it from planets away, if not entire solar systems away. I don't know that. I don't know. But I am still of the conclusion that there is another world out there, whether it's simulated or real. And galaxies are being discovered every single year, massive amounts. So the amount of galaxies here's the historical estimates. To get to the idea of to come to my conclusion of not a matter of if, but when, or if ever. Historical estimates, earlier calculations based on the Hubble telescope, estimates about 170 billion galaxies. 170 billion galaxies. So, let's say in our solar system, we have, 7, 8 planets? And then we have moons. So, let's just say we've got, 20 or so orbs. 20 or so globes floating around just in our solar system. So that's just in our solar system. And that solar system is a speck of dust inside a giant galaxy that contains tons of solar systems. So how many solar systems are inside? Number of solar systems inside the Milky Way. So according to the Brave search engine, there are over 5,000 confirmed solar systems, planetary systems, currently known to exist within the Milky Way galaxy. However, because the Milky Way contains an estimated 100 to 400 billion stars, astronomers estimate that the actual number of solar systems is in the tens of billions, potentially reaching 100 billion. Confirmed systems. As of recent data, NASA has confirmed over 5,000 planetary systems with more than 5,200 individual exoplanets identified. Estimated total. Given that nearly every star likely hosts at least one planet, the total number of solar systems is believed to be comparable to the number of stars in the galaxy. Context. The discrepancy between confirmed and estimated number arises because detected planets, especially those far from their stars or Earth, is technologically challenging. Okay. All right. So let's just do some real... we're going to do some Joey math now. We're going to do some J math. You ready? Numbers don't lie. So let's break out the calculator. Let's just say this. We are one solar system with known active life. Let me get rid of that. Move this over here. Okay. So we have one solar system with active life as we speak, and we're on it. Okay. There may have been some past life on Mars. I don't know. Okay. But we're here. We're active. That's one solar system. NASA has confirmed that there is within at least 5,000 planetary systems. Okay. So if you have 5,000 planetary systems, and we're one of them, then if there is one per, there could be potentially, depending upon the solar system, 5,200 Earths or Earth-like planets. So you have a solar system. It has a star or a sun of some kind in the middle of it, and enough planets are circulating within the gravitational pull of that sun. One of them's got to be in that cool zone, just far enough away from the sun to not boil the water, but close enough to the sun where an atmosphere can form, grass can grow or something can grow that gives off some type of gas, such as oxygen or carbon dioxide or something that grows some type of life form, whether it's something primitive like cells, single cell organisms, or something much more complex, or even more complex than us, because we're like a type 0.5 galaxy. We're a type 0.5 civilization. So I would say something far more advanced would be maybe there's something out there that's still primitive in youth, in its infancy, or something out there that's a type 1 where they're like, we know we've mastered this planet, we got everything under control. There might be just in the solar system. So 5,000 confirmed solar systems. Imagine let's just say half of them have, no, let's not even do that. Let's do 5,200 times, let's do 5,200, no, 5,000. We'll do 5,000 times 10%. 0.10. Let's say there's, in this entire galaxy, if only 10% of this of the solar systems in this galaxy confirmed. This is confirmed solar systems. There could be a hell of a lot more. The estimates hold, given that nearly every star likely hosts at least one planet, the total number of solar systems is believed to be comparable to the number of stars in the galaxy. Okay. Well, let's just say we'll go at the most minimalist level because we don't want to overestimate. If at least 10% of the solar systems in the galaxy have an Earth-like planet, then there's 500 Earth-like planets out there. 500 Earth. Just in this galaxy. So let's break it down even more. If you have 500 times 0.10 again, that if out of 500 Earths times 10%, the potential of Earths that actually have like life on it could be 50. 50. And we're just in one galaxy. There's just one galaxy. One galaxy, 10%, one galaxy, 5,000 confirmed solar systems. 10% of those solar systems, and then you get that number. Okay? Out of the 5,200 confirmed out of the 5,000 confirmed planetary systems, 10% of them have Earth-like planets, and out of 10% of those Earth-like planets, you have at least 50 of them with some type of life. And that's just one galaxy. But how many galaxies are there? Current estimates suggest that there are approximately 2 trillion. Historical estimates. Earlier calculations based on the Hubble Deep Field Images estimates around 170 billion galaxies, while NASA and other resources have frequently cited figures between 100 and 200 billion. Revised counts, a 2016 study utilizing Hubble data and theoretical models, indicated that the true number is at least 10 times higher than previous estimates, pushing the count to 2 trillion. Upper bounds, some recent analysts suggesting that the number could even be higher, potentially up to 20 trillion, when accounting for faint small galaxies that are currently undetectable. Observable limit. Those figures apply specifically to the observable universe, which has a radius of 46.1 billion light years. Total number of galaxies in the entire universe, observable and unobservable, remains unknown. Okay, so we got a number here of 170 billion galaxies. 170 billion galaxies. First off, I don't know how many fucking zeros that is. All right, I really have to Google that shit. I literally have to like Google calculator that because I don't know how many zeros that is. I don't have to type in blah blah blah. So if we have, and I'm getting to something here. This is kind of a slow build up. So if you have 170 billion times 10%. Let's see here. So to calculate this, blah, 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 17 billion result of okay. So 17 billion. So we have at 10%, you have 17 billion that are capable. 17 billion, 10% that are capable. Just some rough basic numbers of just like, let's throw this out there. If you have 170 billion galaxies, how can you, what is your argument to me to say that there isn't something either controlling all of them, something coming from them, something investigating us from them, something growing or something that is developing or gone from them? The numbers are just too high in my head to suggest that there's absolutely nothing out there whatsoever, whether it be beings of a higher power, or more intelligent beings, or beings kind of on our wavelength. They just happen to have better technology so they can reach us better. Or at the very least, orbs and satellites and reconnaissance automated drones that are hitting our planet that could have been launched, I don't know, hundreds of years ago, hundreds of thousands of years ago, tens of millions of years ago. I don't know. But they're here, or the sightings are there. The question is, are they something that that can be explained, like, oh, that was a helicopter, or that was I don't know, a lighthouse, or that was a drone with a bunch of lights on it. You know, because I've done that before. I've sent a drone up, like I attached like a shit ton of lights to it. The thing was so freaking heavy it barely got off the ground, and it almost crashed because I put too much weight on it, because the rotors were not able to, you know, compensate for all that extra weight that was on top of it. It was maxing out the rotors. But it looked like it looked like a fucking alien. But here's the thing: are you really going to see aliens, you know, UFOs during the night? Probably. I don't think you are, because why would they need lights? If they don't want to be seen, why would they use lights? So I don't think that the nighttime shots that you see on the war.gov site, I don't think they have any validity to them at all. And that's what's so discouraging to me, is like the stuff I've seen, it has, to me, not enough credibility as just your normal civilian to put any weight behind them. But there's just the mathematics is overwhelming to suggest that it's just us. So I'm looking at it, like, it's amazing that that we have all this data on. It's confirmed. There's, you know, at least 5,000 solar systems just in our galaxy alone. At minimum 5,000 galaxies alone in our galaxy. 5,000 solar systems in our galaxy alone. And then approximately 100 to 200 billion galaxies confirmed or identified. And if you just drum that down to like, the picture was all fuzzy and stuff, it's actually 10% of that. You still have 17 billion galaxies. 17 billion galaxies, at 10% of those capable of sustaining solar systems, of those solar systems capable of having 10% of those Earth-like planets, and 10% of those Earth-like planets having some type of life, whether it be non-intelligent, single cell, or super advanced. And if even 10% of that 50 planets, another way of looking at it, let's say 50, if you have 50 planets in that one solar system, and you take 10% of that, at least could one of them be super highly advanced, type 1 civilization, type 2 civilization, which means that they are not only highly intelligent, but they are also occupying other planets now. They're multi-planetary species, which puts them well beyond one planet. So they're jumping. They're going from here to here to here. How long it took them, I don't know. I don't live there. But the very idea that there's so much out there, I cannot think otherwise. I cannot think of it's all just a giant waste of space. If we're here by chance or by divine intervention, there's so many arguments about have extraterrestrials visited us beforehand, whether they came from underneath or they came from outer space. Something was to take place. If we grew organically from single-celled organisms from the water to what we are now, who's to say that other planets weren't capable of doing the same thing, only they had more oxygen in their brains than we did, so they were capable of thinking on a different plane. They were capable of thinking in 2.0 as opposed to us, where we're only thinking in 1.0. And it took us tens of thousands of years to really just become what we are now, where we're at least able to feel and think and wonder and be like, maybe we should go out there. And we've explored a little bit. We have I think at least two satellites that have left our solar system and are now just out there. Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. They're out there. They're beyond our solar system now. They're in the darkness. Whether they work or not is irrelevant. Whether the data they're sending us back is accurate is another thing. But they're out there. That's at least 2. What's coming to us? What's coming through our solar system? What's driving by us? Or what's entering our atmosphere? The question is, do they know about, there's the question of the Van Allen radiation belt. Does that play with navigation issues? There is our obviously our atmosphere, which has roasted spaceships before. Now, that's an interesting thing. That's an interesting concept right there. Like we lost the Space Shuttle Columbia because of a couple tiles. Imagine like an alien civilization deciding to, oh, look, there's a planet. Let's go check it out. They smack right into the atmosphere, and they burn up because either one, they miscalculated our atmosphere and either was too shallow or they skipped off and they burned up. So there's some options there. Like, look, I'm not saying I'm saying the aliens can be there if they are existing and they're coming to us. They're explorers too. So who's to say they miscalculate our atmosphere and burn up in it? Because there's so much stuff going on outside of our atmosphere. There's so much space debris and satellites and meteors and asteroids and just stuff that we can track and stuff that we can't track. Who's to say we just see another object just burning up in the atmosphere and that was a couple of space dudes who just got roasted alive because they miscalculated how thick our atmosphere was or what angle they should attack it at. And now they're just gone. They're rubble. But the calculations are there of how many are visiting. There's so many unknown objects and orbs that are coming to us, supposedly. To me, I cannot deny the very idea of if there's that many billions of galaxies out there and that many thousands of solar systems within our own galaxy, the calculations are just immeasurable to the point where it's like, all right, something's out there. It's just, when is it coming? When is it coming? Has it come? Do we have data to back it up? Can we see it? Do we even know what spectrum we visually would be able to identify it as? We have a spectrum that we see colors, we see sharp objects, we can see a lot of amazing things. Can we see what they see, though? We don't see temperature. We don't see things like the Predator does. So we don't know if they're looking at us like that. We don't see heat signatures. We kind of do. Like, we see some things that are light. We can feel light. We can feel heat. We can feel cold. But their measure, how they feel and see things, can determine how they react to them and how they learn from it. Their calculations could be amazing, but still, they may screw up when it comes to dealing with what they're explorers. So who's to say they can't make mistakes when entering Earth's atmosphere or flying around, and maybe they just misjudge, or who knows, maybe their eyesight when they're flying is just not very good, and then next thing you know, they crash land somewhere in New Mexico. I don't know. But what I can tell you is the calculations for somebody being out there looking at us and checking us out, I can't say no. I can't say no, it's not real. Now, another thought is, what is out there? Are there gods out there? Are there aliens? Are there other types of humans, advanced humans, beings of higher power, multiple gods out there? Ultimately, it could be any of those things. Yeah, it could be any of those things. I just don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I'd like to know. I'm curious about it. Ever since I was a little kid. I would love to know what questions they'd ask. Why do you keep these? What is this dog? What does a dog do? Why do you guys fight so much? What's this Instagram? Why do you entertain yourselves? What's a mosh pit? What's this thing called music? Why haven't you guys solved this problem? What's emotion? What are political parties? The questions I'm sure they would ask if they wanted to. I mean, coming all this way, we are, if you look at us from a distance, we could really potentially be such violent beings. If you look at us from a distance, it's like when you watch, I mean, if you're coming to the planet for the first time, you go, this is interesting. That's kind of pretty. It's a nice little blue marble in the sky. But then you zoom in a little bit, and you see like a little corner in Seattle. Not the whole thing of Seattle, not Bellevue, just like one street corner. One street corner in Seattle where people are fighting for some stupid fucking reason. But how are they looking at us? How are they identifying us? What is this? And depending upon what month of the year they visit us, it's like, what's this area of the earth all covered in powder? This white stuff that when you touch it, it hurts your fingers. Or why all of a sudden, if we decide to fly by you guys in June, we see fucking rainbows dancing down street sides. What is Mardi Gras? Things get really weird when we visit this part of Earth during this month or this week. So, what questions are they asking from afar? Are they worried that if we were to... That's an interesting thing. It's like, I wonder what their thought process is. If I was in their shoes, if they wear shoes, if they have feet, they're going to come to us and ask questions. What's our first response? Are we going to be like those uncontacted tribes, like off of East India or whatever? I forget the name of the island. Where they see something they don't recognize, and the first thing they do is weaponize and gear up. And, who's to say that this giant, quote, threat or this unknown ship just comes across and they want to ask us questions, but they don't know how to ask us questions. But we're here. The whole world is seeing this ship show up, and they want to come to us and ask questions. But our first thing is fear. So what do? We all of a sudden shift our attention to being like, okay, we know that they're there. They're right there looking at us. What do? Okay, that's immediately a potential threat. They may not be the threat, but the people coming after them could be a threat. Now all of a sudden, we're type 1 civilization because now we're going to pour all of our money, all our resources, and all of our attention into basically turning the moon into a fucking fortress. And we're going to become an extraplanetary civilization because now that we know 100% that these things are out there, and some of them might not be cool with us, and maybe understandably so, now all of a sudden they don't have the element of surprise anymore because they came to us asking questions. So we're all of a sudden going to prep up. We're going to have giant space lasers pointed out. Instead of the Iron Dome like in Israel, we're going to have an Iron Dome around the planet. We're going to have pulse cannons on the moon. So that's like, oh, maybe we shouldn't ask them questions. Maybe we should just kind of poke around quietly and see if we can get the answers for ourselves before we go ask the human population, what is a Rubik's Cube? Why can't you guys solve it sooner? So it's like, why bother go ask these primitive, tribes being us, me, questions because they don't know how we're going to react. Because if we react all of a sudden, like perfect example is sometimes like during war, like World War II, we had a decent navy. Japanese bomb us. What's the first thing we do? We turn all of our baseball players into soldiers. We turn all of our car factories into tank factories. We all of a sudden upscale to the point where we now have nuclear weapons. By poking the bear, literally asking a question to us, knowing that you're from outer space, poking the bear, now that we know, okay, you guys are out there, we need to do something else. Now all that money shifts from fucking beagle testing to now, okay, now we're building space weapons. Now we're building more spaceships. Now we're heading in this direction. Do the aliens want that? Do they want this trailer park called Earth to start heading out in that direction? Is Earth a paradise or a ghetto? We look at it as a big, beautiful, beautiful marble. But one man's treasure is another alien's potential trash. Our water could be dog shit. Our planet could suck. Our planet could be boring. To us, our whole planet is Key West, Florida. But to the aliens, it could be fucking someplace in Iowa. Boring. No disrespect to Iowa. I mean, you grow our food. You know, it's nice and you can see for miles. It's cool. But I'm just saying, like, to them, it could be like, I'm not interested. I don't want that real estate. This bores me. So there's that to consider. Maybe they're just not interested. Or maybe they just don't want this shithole heading out into space. But I could tell you, are we learning more about them or are they learning more about us? I would say they're learning more about us. Because from what I've seen from what the government has released, this U.S. Department of War website, which is war.gov/UFO, and the things I'm seeing are boring. There's some accounts. Like, I'll go back to the oldest... let's see here. Go back to incident dates. Oops, let me go backwards here. So this is the very first one that the U.S. Department of War has released. This collection of documents contains correspondence between the director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, J. Edgar Hoover, and Reverend Charles Barnes concerning Barnes' an account of an incident potentially involving UAPs. He described observing 4 beams of light converging in the Cascade Mountains at an altitude of approximately 10,000 feet, with a great explosion visible at the convergence point of those beams for at least 10 minutes. Director Hoover replied to Reverend Barnes, thanking him for his letter and informing him that he had forwarded it to the Atomic Energy Commission. Director Hoover conveyed to the AEC that Reverend Barnes believed that the event may relate to a military or scientific experiment within the commission's purview. Okay, so there you go. That's nothing. That doesn't mean anything. It's all these. It's just something that was logged. It goes into this archive. There's nothing really to tie it all together. It's just like a phenomenon. They write it down. And the pictures aren't, I mean, even the newest one. Let's see. Here's another one from, let's go to page 5. If you want to see other historical, get rid of that. Let's go to incident date 2026, Northeastern Orb sightings. Let's see. Let's click on the picture. Open image in new tab. On February 2026, a lot of redaction, by the way. I'll show you just how redacted all this shit is. Display caption. That's how redacted it is. On February blank 2026, blank email address blank was interviewed by blank and blank via video conference on Microsoft Teams. Also present for the interview was blank. After being advised of the identity of the following agents and the nature of the interview, blank provided the following information. Blank received bachelor's degree in economics and finance from blank. Blank previously worked as a blank. Blank then became a blank. Blank is currently in blank. Currently is the blank. Blank was at residence at blank. Returned home that night. See how fucking annoying that is? As at approximately 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As blank was pulling into their driveway, which slopes downhill towards their residence, blank, by the way, this was a newer release. Noticed an intense bright light hovering below the tree line in the middle of their backyard. Blank got out of the vehicle and stared at the strange light for a few minutes before reaching back into the blank's vehicle to retrieve their cell phone. So blank could take a video of what blank was seeing. At the same time, blank was sitting inside to arrive home. Blank checked the security camera and saw blank standing next to the vehicle looking in the backyard. Then went outside to join blank with social. What was looking at described the light as a red sphere that was about 1 meter in diameter, described in the red color as being brilliant and beautiful, and that had never been seen anything like that color in red before. stated that inside the red sphere at the center there appeared to be what blank described as a white plasma sun about the size of a basketball. As blank and blank blank watched, the orb UAP moved up and to their left, and they noticed there was a second identical orb hovering above and then that was, I think, that. There's obviously more to it, but it's just cleared for release June 12, 2026. These files, these PDF files, they're interesting to read, but there's no data there. There's no data. The pictures are dog shit too. Like the images, like, look at this. Digital rendering, narrative statement, digital rendering, digital rendering, digital rendering. And that's it. That's all there is. These are out of 80 years of UFO phenomenon from basically from World War II, the end of World War II to today. This is all that's been released as far as pictures by the federal government. And these pictures are digital renderings. They don't do anything. What is that, actually? So that looks, I mean, these pictures don't show anything. It's like, once again, these are recreations. Look, this video is an artistic interpretation of the reported incident, which means it's not a real it's not a real picture, it's not a real video, it's not real. So there's nothing there. I don't want to be a skeptic. I'm just saying this is not helping. This doesn't help. It adds to the intrigue. It adds drama. This is just another reality TV show. Only the plot is boring. It's slow. It moves like the plot of the movie Fury, which is a good movie, by the way. And the videos to cap this whole episode off. Let's see. Type. Let's see here. Images. Videos. The videos, let's see. 2026, 2026, 2020. These are just videos from 2026. That's it. Nothing else. That's all the videos are. It could be anything. It could be an oil rig. It could be a drone. It could be a helicopter. If you were an alien, what do you need lights for? Or do you not realize that your lights are on? I mean, I walked away from my car knowing that my lights are on. Or do they not realize that we can see their lights? Is that possible? Or is it the way that their energy that powers their ships, it's just undeniable that it's just, you can't turn it off? Like, for example, if their ship is powered by some type of plasma or nuclear fusion and it can just fly around like that, but you can't turn off the lights so we see it, but it's super quiet? Is that possible? I don't know. Did these things, are they machines that were, or are these ships that were launched tens of thousands of years ago and they're finally just getting here? I don't know, but ultimately it doesn't answer any questions other than we see stuff, we record it, and then it gets sent off. But there's nothing there, unfortunately. There's just the calculations. The only thing that's true is the calculations, the bare minimum of what I could show you as far as calculations go. But these pictures, these digital renderings and these pictures in the dark, they don't answer any questions. They don't do anything. They don't really further the conversation. They just allow for more drama. There are other things, but at night, this is, let's see, this video depicts an area of contrast moving from the bottom left to the, is provided for informational purposes only. Is this an actual? So, okay, check that out. What is that? Okay. That's an unidentified object, but watch this. Okay. See that? That, to me, screams drone. It does to me. First of all, it's very small. But this, to me, looks like something I've done. This looks like video that I've done before. Because I know how to put two drones in the air at the same time. So let's just say, for example, you put... Let's say I have, for recreation purposes, let's say I have a DJI Phantom 3. And then I have a DJI Mavic Mini. and I put the DJI, which is a drone, by the way, if you don't know. I put the Phantom 3 at 100 feet. And I put the Mavic at 400 feet. And then I have the Mavic Mini pointing down at this area, and I just shoot that drone. I shoot the Phantom 3 going over the tops of these buildings. That's what it's going to look like. It's just going to look like a tiny little speck flying across the screen of the Mavic Mini. And that's what it's going to show. So that could be a drone if there's no volume on it. And ultimately, you'll hear a drone if it's in your area. But it's still not going to be that loud. It's going to be a big drone, like a Phantom 3 or an Inspire. An Inspire's bigger, by the way. Yeah, that's going to sound like a lawnmower going by. But a Mavic Mini, you're not going to hear that at all. You're not going to see it, really. So these images or recreations or simulations, they don't prove enough. They don't whet my appetite. There's too many there's too many variables to this equation. But, I mean, these videos are meh. But these ones are interesting, though. So, I'm going to finish on this one. These are the ones that get the conversation going. So, the United States Central Command submitted a report of a UAP to All Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, consisting of 1 minute and 5 seconds of video footage captured via multiple sensor modalities aboard a U.S. military platform in 2024. An accompanying mission report, UAP D7, described as the diamond-shaped and moving at approximately 434 knots. The observer also reported the UAP was also detectable via the shortwave infrared sensor. Video description. The screen is split into two viewing areas for first 10 seconds of the video, with the right side displaying the electrical opto footage and the left displaying SWIR footage. An area of contrast becomes distinguishable, so they now narrate what they can see. So, this is the stuff that can be interesting, because this stuff is flying above the clouds. What is it, though? How high can drones fly? Commercial drones, about 1,600 feet. Not legally, by the way. A drone, a unmanned aerial drone, commercial ones, they can fly without permission. There's gray areas there. 400 feet. Physically, a lot of them, they can go up to like 12 to 1,600 feet before A range of the controller to the drone gives out. Although the newer ones could probably go farther. Or B, their software that's running the drones will not allow them to go any higher. That's another thing. Some drones have been unlocked and they can go up several miles. It's true. But this is short-lived. So there's too much circumstantial of thing, and these videos can be easily shot down. But there is stuff out there that's very interesting, for sure. I'm not a skeptic, but the data I'm seeing is not great. But there's stuff out there that is being seen, and it's a question of when are we going to see something so, first of all, high definition, indistinguishable, that we'd be like, okay, what is that? And number one, and then finally, it's released to the public. But I still believe, just due to the mathematics of there being hundreds of billions of galaxies with thousands of solar systems per galaxy, with the potential for at least 10% of them having an Earth-like planet, for them to be not one outside life source, but multiple. And at least some of them being capable of traveling, if not outside their galaxy, but somewhere in a neighboring solar system. There has to be. There has to be something. The question is, when are we going to definitively see it? If we haven't, or another way of looking at it. if we have seen it, when are we going to actually publish it? And forget about all this stuff. It's just a distraction from this, the distraction from that. True. Maybe true. But the fact still remains that we need to see it. We need to see it. We need to acknowledge that the calculation, the possibility of this being a real outcome, that there's something out there and it has visited us and it has already tried to talk to us. This is a real possibility. The ratios are there. But it's a question of has it actually happened? And when is it going to be released to us? And on top of that, how is civilization, all civilization, going to react? And maybe the introduction of undeniable extraterrestrial footage could possibly bring the human race into a more cooperative existence. Now that would be a sight for sore eyes. You can find me on Instagram at positive sarcasm. You can find me. You can email me. You can message me there. You can also hit me up through my website, positivesarcasm.com. Go to the contact section, email me there, blah, blah, blah. Questions, concerns, comments. You can also email me directly, positivesarcasm at outlook.com. If you want to listen to this podcast, you can download it anywhere podcasts are available through the Apple Podcast RSS network, Podcast Addict, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and of course Spotify. Downloadable from Substack as well, and downloadable and streamable directly through my website, positivesarcasm.com/podcast. And YouTube and Rumble have this available on video. So if you want to like, subscribe, and share through those, you can, and donate through positivesarcasm.com/donate. Any amount's appreciated. $1 minimum just helps keep the website going. So here we go. 12 years running, strong. In the meantime, thank you for listening, watching, and subscribing. And yeah, man, I hope so. Well, for the better, of course, you know. Thank you for listening, watching, subscribing. I'll talk to you all next week. Recorded here from the Spare Parts Studio, alongside New Hampshire's beautiful seacoast, for entertainment purposes only. This has been a Positive Sarcasm presentation.